The auroral diamond glows with a yellow light, the beauty of marigolds, or a bright canary flying across a hot sun. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of Radiant Stories. We're almost at the end. I'm excited to be here. As always, I'm Lauren, your humble DM, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the awesome people who I get to play at this table every single week. Would you go ahead and please introduce yourselves?
Hey everyone, I'm Alicia Marie. You can find me across all socials at Alicia Marie Body. I'm a creative artist, costumer, RPG performer. On Tuesday nights, you can find me on the Debbie Plain RPG channel playing Children of Verte with Lauren and Jen. And of course, here on Fridays, I wanted to mention on October 28th at 2 p.m., I'll be playing a Halloween Haunt one-shot with B. Dave Walters as the DM. We will be streaming for survivors to support the WAVAW organization, which is a rape crisis center. So we're really excited about that. I'm going to bring some really cool, and it's level 20. So those games are always just pure chaos. So it'll be a lot of fun, hopefully. Tonight, I am playing Cricket, or her name is Ravana Wise, and she is a grave domain cleric, wild hunt shifter from the far reaches of Eberron.
Lovely. I'm Erin Roberts. I am a writer of stories and games, including the adventure Written in Blood from Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel, and two NPCs in Anansi's Tapestry of Lies, which still has its Kickstarter running. You can find me on Twitter mostly at Narelle, Nirele. And tonight I am playing Kiana, who's from the Written in Blood adventure and is in this version of life a aberrant mind sorcerer.
Hello, I am Jen Kretschmer. You can find me streaming on Twitter, or streaming on Twitch as Dreamwisp Jen, tweeting as Dreamwisp, and doing all sorts of other fun things. I'm part of Children of Verte. I am part of this. I've got some very cool things coming up, which I will be announcing when I can. I will talk more about what I do later. My brain is fried. It's been a long week, but happy Friday. Today, however, I will be playing your friendly neighborhood Spring Eladrin College of Creation cottagecore bard Wisteria.
Hi, I'm Kelly, mostly known as the Opera Geek. I am a professional opera singer, voice actress, person who says a lot of words, and posts memes on Twitter, I guess. It's important. I am playing, as usual, your not so friendly barbarian, Ustina, who had the world's most ridiculous grapple check last week and is still embarrassed about it.
And I'm the other half of that ridiculous grapple check. I'm Lauren Urban. I'm the DM for this game. I'd like to take a moment to thank Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. You can pick up your Electrum chest code in the chat right now. I'd also like to thank Anansi's Tapestry of Lives, because they're the reason why we get to be here. And so take a moment and check out this little video.
With Silas on your side, all things are possible through love. Violence, the endless tune of my preferred song.
Longbow will cost you an extra on account of the danger I'll be putting myself in by making a bow twice my height.
I'm now convinced it's something far more potent. It's a ritual.
Don't make faces just because we're kids. Adults like you always think we won't take their shirts off their back or the fancy sword from their scabbard.
We hope you enjoyed that, and we hope you enjoy episode 11, the penultimate episode of Radiant Stories. Dun, dun, dun. I was expecting like dramatic music, but it just happened in my head. For those of you who need a little bit of a recap, our heroes have tracked down the source of the curse that has been affecting people in San Citlan. It was coming from an unwilling young man named Serapio who had been possessed by a demon called the Talakate Kolo. With the party's help, the demon was removed from his body and destroyed. Serapio's mother has shown up after decking the corrupt politician Itzmin in the face. And we're picking up pretty much right there where we left off, where our wonderful heroes are a little hurt, or a little tired, but a little victorious as the wonderful mother of this poor man who had been basically being turned into a demon against his will. The two of them are hugging. The politician responsible is currently unconscious on the floor. And we'll pick up right there. You both hear the two of them softly talking to each other. You can overhear that basically what had happened to bring mom here was that the son had finally told her what was going on about this transformation and then fled, and she followed him. And so there's a lot of, I'm sorry, I should have known, I wish I had told you, those kind of things going on. But is there anything that you would all like to do?
We haven't really had a chance yet to search the room.
No, you have not. Do you want to take a moment and look around?
Yes, please.
All right. So from where you are, I'll just kind of give you a brief recap. It's a fairly large space. It's a large cavern. This seems to be more of a natural cave than some of the mine that you'd currently been in. There's not much in here, but what is in here is striking. Both ends of this kind of oval cavern have excavated skeletons in them of some gigantic creature, bigger than possibly any of you have ever seen, reptilian in nature, but just the bones, kind of half buried in the wall. At the other side from where you are, you can see that there's an altar that has been set up. It looks like it was stone that had possibly been carved right from the surrounding area, the surrounding rock. It does seem to be covered in blood. And from this far away, you can tell that there is writing around it, like carved into the rock. And you do know, while none of you speak it, you were able to figure out the last time, because of a couple of very fun ideas that came up, you were able to figure out that a lot of this is an abyssal, and this looks like more abyssal. And finally, the only other thing you see without doing a more thorough search is those scratches against the wall that you also saw up in the last room that you were in, the one that you can kind of put together was a place Serapio was basically hanging out. There are more of those gashes along the sides of this cavern. Is there anything in specific you'd like to look at or do?
Ustina, sorry.
Go ahead, you do.
Ustina would like to, I think I was already standing up because I just, cut the demon in half. So I'm covered in who knows what.
Would you like to be covered in who knows what, or would you like it to be gone?
I think I'll keep it because it looks pretty awesome.
Okay.
I think, even if it smells a little weird.
Then it did not dissolve with the rest of the demon once the demon turned into nothing.
Somebody can prestidigitate me at a later date.
I don't know.
But Ustina is going to turn and see where Itzmin has been unceremoniously dumped/dragged into here. First thing she's going to do is she's going to grab her rope from her backpack. She is going to firmly tie his hands behind his back. I am then going to go through all of his pockets.
Okay. Both of those things, fairly easy to do. It's not like you're in a hurry. And it's not like he is resisting because he is unconscious. You go through his pockets. There's not much, actually. What you do find is a fairly hefty coin purse. You haven't necessarily taken the time to count everything just yet, but just pulling it out of one pocket, it gives that hefty chink, chink, chink of, there's a fair bit of coin in there.
That goes right on my belt.
In another pocket, you do see a small ring of keys that at a very quick glance kind of look like house keys maybe, or go ahead and give me an intelligence check. Just a check.
Yeah. Oh no, that's my best stat. Oh man.
I know.
Oh boy. Okay. Let's see how this goes. That's a 4.
House keys.
Nothing
else.
Yeah, I'll toss the house keys to Wisteria. Like I can't do anything with those. I don't think. Let me know when you want him taken out. I'll just sit here. And she's just gonna stare at him in case he wakes up.
I mean, that's fair. As you say that, Donna Rosa, the mother, looks up from where she and Serapio have been talking and says, when we do that, I know exactly where to take that piece of trash. We'll bring him to the Argent congregation. They'll know what to do with him. They'll know if he's got any more ties to any of these demons, and the archmages there will be able to make sure that he can't hurt anybody anymore. So if you don't mind losing your rope, I'm more than happy to bring him myself.
Christina looks mildly sad because she was looking forward to dragging him through the dirt, but also recognizes that this woman probably needs a little bit of how shall we say, getting it out of her system. Just getting it out of her system to deal with this guy. So I was like, I've got like 50 feet of rope. I've never used it. I don't know why it's in my bag. So
then it is being put to an excellent use right now. While Ustina is doing that, what would the rest of you like to be doing?
May I look at this ring of keys that Ustina just tossed over to me?
Absolutely. Give me an intelligence check.
Just a flat intelligence?
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to decide what these keys might be to, and you don't really have any, you might not have any frame of reference. So you're just kind of sussing it out, looking what you can see by these keys.
That is flat. 19.
Ooh, there's 3 keys on here. One of them is, you're pretty sure, a house key. One of them you're unsure of. It doesn't look special in any way. None of these keys look like gem encrusted or, the skulls on them or anything weird. But you can't really place the second key. It might be a drawer. It might be a chest. It might be just something. The third key, you actually think back to when you first met Itzmin and he was with that fancy carriage. You think that carriage door did have a lock on it. You think that this third key might be to the carriage. So
I think it might be worth going, once we're back outside, if the carriage is still there, perhaps going to look if there's no one else around who's going to mind us taking a look.
Cricket and Kiana, is there anything in specific you'd like to be looking at?
What time of day is it? What time of day is it again?
You are unsure because you've been in this mine for a little while.
Okay.
By your best guess, because you would enter just about noonish, maybe a little bit after, and it's been at least a couple of hours. Like you took that hour-long rest in the middle. There was all of the walking and everything. You think it might be 4-5 o'clock ish.
Okay, at least it's an approximation she can make because it determines which god she is praying to. But she's quietly praying to herself. Prayer of healing for anyone who got hurt in this fight. I don't know if anybody took any damage. If so, it's 3d8 plus 4 in case you did.
All right. So I believe that's a 10-minute you sit and kind of awesome.
Yeah. So she's just then sort of praying to herself, quite whispering in infernal to herself.
But
and I can throw a Song of Rest on there as well to add an additional
I love it. Additional.
I'm looking. Oh, wait. Maybe. Wait, hang on. Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I can add an additional D6 of hit points to that if anyone would like.
We are
perfect
because looking good.
Yeah, I do believe that a couple of you took some fairly large hits out of that Talakate Kolo. Yeah. It was not to be tangled with, and you did. Kiana, what are you doing during this time as all these things are happening?
I'm gonna talk to Serapio, not to disturb the whole family reunion thing going on, but the art, I just really want to just say to Serapio, I really love your art. And I know, we were talking about the art when you were trying to hold back the creature, but aside from that, like, I just think you really have a lot of talent as an artist. I've drawn myself, and I just really want to tell you that I really like your art, and I just think it's really beautiful.
And as you come over and address them, you can see now that it's been a couple of minutes, and they've been able to have this talk, and everything has calmed down. He's much more, not just calm, but just seems like he's come back to himself. There's no longer that anxiety and that fear and that desperation that you were trying to help him with. And he gives you a very generous smile and says, "That's very nice. It did help a lot over the last month or two, just something to focus on, but that's very kind. I would love to see your art. I would love to see your art and find out what was your name? What was all of your names?"
Oh, I'm Kiana.
Wisteria.
Ravana. Call me Cricket, though.
What was the question?
Your name?
Oh, Ustina. It goes right back to staring at Eatsmean.
Thank you. I figured. Is it impolite to not know the name of the people who saved you? I didn't know if there was a better time to ask, but I felt like it was important to know.
We will never speak of that fight again.
Yes, Wisteria?
I just am curious about how you came to be sharing a body with that creature.
It's at that moment that Donna Rosa speaks up, the mother, and says, "That might be inadvertently my fault. His late father, he was unfortunately someone who dealt with demons, and I am ashamed to admit that it took me a very long time to figure out what was going on. And in fact, when my boy here was already about to be born, that's how long it took. He is no longer a problem, but I do wonder if that familiar connection was something that Itzman tapped into. Everything seemed to be absolutely fine up until a couple of months ago, and I thought, well, now that he's full grown and a man and out in the world, that if something would have happened by now, it would have, but apparently I was wrong." And Serapio adds on to that, "There's no way you could have known. I kept it hidden for as long as I could, and up until very recently, I thought Itzmin was helping. He came to me offering me some work, and when he seemed to figure out what was going on, he brought me here, and I thought he and his friends were helping, and it wasn't until just in the last day or two that I've even figured out that there was more going on, so I'm very sorry."
You say friends? His friends?
Yeah, there was a woman.
Not anymore.
She had an odor to her that was very disturbing, but she was apparently doing research into the demon that was hunting me, and it is a powerful politician, and so I figured he had plenty of other people who were working to help.
Ustina holds up the necklace. Did she wear something like this?
I'm gonna roll a quick check to see if he noticed anything. That it does look familiar. I do think if it's not that one, she wore something very similar. It was very striking. She always seemed to be, and not in the nicest clothes, but it seemed to be by choice. So I don't understand, but that always seemed to stand out.
Well, we will not be getting the opportunity to question her today, ever.
So
he doesn't respond to that, but he gives a like a solemn nod, like he kind of understands what might have happened. Wisteria?
out of curiosity, do you know anything about if there was any tungsten involved in any of this? Were they using metal for anything in particular?
The two of them think for a moment. And as you see Donna Rosa's shaking her head, no. Serapio says, this was a silver mine. I haven't heard of any tungsten, though. No, I'm sorry. I think and all I've heard about here is the silver, and that dried up years ago.
All right.
So you have just been down here this entire time. It literally crickets yells it from across the room. You've just been down here. He had you.
Not the entire time. I could come and go. Like I said, I thought he was helping me, and I still have a job, and I still am been trying to live a life. He brought me here as a place to come when I couldn't control it, when it overcame me. And I thought it was a place of safety, that I wouldn't have to worry about hurting anybody. But then the last little while, it's been more and more difficult, and things have gotten worse. And like you saw, it just became a nightmare.
He was trying to harness those powers somehow. He didn't want them. He wanted you to be sort of a, what is the word in a common vessel? Is that it? Or some sort of, I don't know. What is the word? My comment not so good.
I think that vessel works.
Okay.
Also weapon, that works too.
But why?
And
the question.
Wisteria, you've gone over to look at the sorry, my words have gone now. You've gone over to look at the altar and the writings and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say you do recognize all the writing as abyssal, mostly from what you were just doing. As you approach the altar, and you see there's some dried blood on there, and there's that awful smell, but you do notice the top of it has a carving into it that does look like a very rough person with bird feet and a beak.
You have that face, Wisteria. That face is familiar.
It's the same face I always have. I don't change it out very often.
When you find a good book, your face changes.
Oh, like my expression is changing. Understood. There's a carving on here of a bird person, or a person with a beak and bird feet. I don't know if that's related to what they were summoning, or I mean, certainly the creatures we were dealing with are in that vein. Just why would that be who they want to talk to? I don't understand. I just don't understand the appeal of calling down a demon, but that's just me and my life, I suppose.
You
It
hear
depends on for what reason they be calling the demon god.
I think
And
maybe we
depends-
should look in the carriage and see if there's any information there about why they would want to do that. Is there anything else in here anyone wants to take a look at before we go?
Uh,
Do we still have the dictionary, or is that gone?
I believe that's gone because that was your created thing.
2 hours, yeah.
mhm.
2 hours, 1 hour.
If
2 hours.
if it's 2 hours, you still have it. If it's
gonna-
1 hour, then it's gone because you used it over
Dissolved.
the short rest.
It was 2 hours when you conjured it. Now it is 3 hours.
Ooh. Well,
Okay.
you defeat a demon and you get a little more powerful. So yeah, you still, unless you intentionally got rid of it, you do still have it.
Can I translate what's on the pedestal?
Yeah. And I'll say, since you've been
Even
looking
if it's
at
not
it,
a perfect translation, because obviously languages, you speak more than one language, things don't translate exactly. And certainly if you're just translating word for word, you get a Google Translate
yeah. You get
of demonic
yeah.
summoning.
Well, the good news is because this isn't your first time going through this kind of translation. You do get kind of the word jumble, but very quickly you see that a lot of this sounds like what Kiana found in the journal that she had pulled off the book. They're horrific prayers to Pazuzu, the demon lord of evil bird creatures. And so it's all just praises and different things asking for help and power in exchange for sacrifices.
Wow.
It's not fun stuff.
Well, that's unfortunate. So, all right. I think we should go check out that carriage and see if there's anything there. We now know this back entrance here because, by the way, Donna Rosa, I don't know if you have anyone who might be able to help clear the mind, but they kind of are I don't even want to say friend here. But this gentleman decided to trap us in here and caved in the front entrance. So you might need to get some people to help clear that out, perhaps.
Christina kicks him in the butt.
He does not respond. I mean, his body moves a little bit, but he got knocked out. Donna Rosa responds and says, absolutely. I am positive the Argent congregation is going to be able to take care of all of that. And I trust the Archmage is there to be powerful enough to deal with whatever is going on here. We don't know how widespread this, I guess it's a cult. I don't know. If it's possible, Itzmin was just working with a couple people and just using his political power to coerce people into doing things, but this is going to need to go to them. And I have no problems talking to them. I have my own friends there. And so.
And do you think you can take him there safely? Or do you need help?
She looks over where Itzmin is tied up and looks back at you, Ustina, and says, as long as you're willing to part with your rope, I can get him there.
I have no attachments to that rope.
She stands up and her son stands up with her and she walks on over, brushing the front of her dress off, which you all now see what Cricket had seen. She's in what is a little bit of an incongruous outfit for this dark and damp mine. She's in this gorgeous, bright red, flowery dress down to her ankles, large sleeves. Her hair is elaborately done up with flowers in it. Some strands have come loose and there's some dirt on her outfit that she's now just kind of gently brushing off. But then without much effort, comes over and picks Itzmin up and slings him over her shoulder. And Ustina, you do recognize, because you're the one that has been watching him the whole time, and so you've got kind of the closest view. She had always looked like a fit woman, but the dress had kind of hid a lot of the muscles. It's not a tight fitting dress. And so Yeah, she's got some strength to her, and she just kind of hauls him over her shoulder and says, I will get him there safely to be delivered to justice.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
But I agree. Oh, let's get out of here. This place
And
is
I just be on
horrific.
guard. We're finding that there's all sorts of corruption across all sorts of different places lately. And it's a bit of a concern. So I just would notify people that you trust, especially if you think there's because then it often turns out that a lot of the people you trust are part of it, which is a very upsetting thing when you find that out, because then things go badly. But just, you might want to prepare people and try and figure out if that's corrupting things here.
Absolutely. And if Eatsmean has been plotting this ever since he was born, then yes, there are a lot of people that I need to talk to. But let's get out of here and get on with that. And thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I can at least show you how to get out of here quickly so that you can get back to the celebrations, because I'd hate for you to miss any of the celebrations of the Night of the Remembered just because you were saving my son. You deserve a celebration. And she just starts walking.
I'm really happy that the two of you are communicating, and it's really nice that you talked to your mother so that she could come and help you. And we're walking now.
Serapio makes eye contact with you as he's gotten up, and he nods and says, I should have told her sooner. That's for sure.
Ustina is rather admiringly watching his mother walk away.
Wisteria takes out a couple of seeds and blooms some flowers that are similar to what Donna Rosa has on her dress, and sort of adorns their hair with the flowers for the celebration.
Suddenly Ustina would snap up.
Oh, would you like one as well?
Bonnie and Billy. And she just takes off down the hallway.
Oh, did you want flowers for them? And I start chasing after.
Kiana and Cricket, do you follow?
Yeah, Cricket is she, I guess, picked up one of the flowers that Wisteria dropped, and as soon as she picks it up, it just wilts completely. She doesn't even notice. She's sort of tracing her hands on the walls as she walks, just sort of looking at the markings on the walls. That's all. And she's just following quietly behind.
Cricket, you do notice before it wilts in your hand, it's a beautiful marigold, bright yellow.
I like yellows, whatever colors. She's like, okay.
All right, you all follow.
If it wilts, I can use Druidcraft and rebloom it.
You're just reblooming.
If the flowers make you happy.
Yeah. So yeah, you follow the two of them down a fairly long, what looks like a natural cavern that quickly opens up into what looks like it might have been at one point a dry cenote, someplace that used to have maybe a small river running through it. And there's some scaffolding that it's not hard to climb, but it's a little awkward as you have to kind of climb your way back out. And as you reach the surface again and see that it's now dark outside, it is below sunset by the time you've reached out of this mine and kind of breathe in some fresh air. And it's a little jarring in a good way, because you're right on the edge of the city of San Setlan. This passage had kind of wound your way back. And as you make your way into the city, you see that the festival is in absolutely full swing. The stuff that you had seen before, it looked like a party. And if that was the party, this is an all-out hardcore celebration. There are streamers and banners everywhere. People are actually, Wisteria, if you've got any of these flowers in your hand, you'll see there are more people just wandering, handing out flowers.
I start handing out flowers to anyone who might want one. Just keep blooming more.
It's they're always, especially if you make more of the yellow marigolds, they are accepted with great thanks. People are not only super happy, even ones that already have some in their hands are excited to get more, and they will try to trade with you. Like, you got one, I got one, but there's other flowers all over. You see there's actually fireworks going off in the distance. There's this, it's not a parade, as it's just an amazing mass of people partying on the street. You can watch as a 20-foot tall paper mache skeleton is just dancing, 2 or 3 people working the arms and the body. There's a centaur acrobat on your left that's performing with a couple of others, climbing on top of each other, doing spins and making a amazing display. You see, as I said, many of these people handing out flowers. There's stands of food. And I think the most jarring thing that you notice, depending on where you're from, is every once in a while you see spectral forms, almost like ghosts in blues and whites. Cricket, for a moment, it kind of puts you off, but in the same way that the Olvidados here have been explained to you as something that's good, you very quickly pick up that these are not angry, vengeful spirits, that these are not undead. These are spirits of people who've come back to join the party.
It's the remembered.
It is the Night of the Remembered, and it is in absolute full swing. Donna Rosa and Serapio are headed in a specific direction to go to the archmages that they've talked about. And you do notice that you haven't seen Eatsmean's cart anywhere. But you do think that the reason is the entranceway this way from the cenote into that passageway. The cart would have been very weirdly obvious. And so it's very possible he just walked here from the city.
But the horses didn't get left in the town, did they?
Oh, I can't imagine that would
When
be.
they got blown up?
Oh, the one I can tell you.
I've never seen Ustina this upset.
Ustina, you have a moment of fear and panic over these friends of yours. And then you think, well, no, Eatsmean needed something to ride away on. And he had a guy who was going to drive the cart. You're pretty sure he just went home and then walked here.
Are there any, well, there are obviously plants nearby. Are there any plants that are rooted here?
Sure. Are you looking for anything in specific?
Just something that would have been here for a while.
Yeah, there's a couple of
actually, if there are mushrooms, that's my first instinct, because I know myconids and have networks and things, because obviously Edity, I know what Edity has taught me. But
yeah, you walk to the side of the street where this festival is happening. There's trees that line what usually would be, you're thinking of a very busy thoroughfare, and the trees are close enough and thick enough that when you look under them, you can see that there's a couple of mushrooms.
I would like to bend down to one of them, and I would like to use Speak with Plants.
Okay.
If that's okay. And
I mean, always.
Pardon me. There was a large, and there was a almost like a gourd with round wheels on the bottom that was here before. It's not here anymore. Do you happen to know where it might have gone?
Oh, gourds. Where do gourds go when they go away?
They all just ask you. Like, it's a chorus of little tiny mushrooms.
I don't know. Why are you looking for a gourd?
Oh, it's not actually a gourd. It's similar to a gourd. It looks sort of like a gourd, but they're not actually a gourd. It's just sort of shaped like that.
Oh. Well, I saw people
at that stand over there selling pumpkin things. Is that what you
No, it was
mean?
bigger than that.
Bigger
It
than
was
a pumpkin.
much bigger than a pumpkin. And
A
there were
watermelon?
2 horses, even bigger.
Oh.
It's the size of a whole garden. And there
I'd
were
like
2
to
horses, and I start to try and describe horses as best I can. They should have a certain degree of they gain some sentience from
Yeah.
this.
Actually, and it's when you mention horses, because they're absolutely they gain some degree of sentience, but they also are super literal. And so until you mention horses, you can almost feel the wonder at a gourd the size of a entire garden until you say horse. And then they go, oh, yeah, there was a horse. There were 2 horses a little while ago. And it was a cart. It was a cart. Yeah.
Does
and then
anyone
it
in your
left.
network know where they went?
Oh, let me see. And you watch as this tiny little cluster of mushrooms. There's no face. It's not like they anthropomorphize when you do this, but you could swear that they like scrunch up and they all start to hum in a very discordant chord that just very slowly becomes something harmonious. Came here before the sun went away, and then it left. But no mushrooms near where it left. Just came and a one got out, and then they left.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Did you see the big lady over there? And of course, they're not pointing, but you can kind of tell that they're talking about the giant paper mache skeleton.
I did. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
We have the best view.
Let me just make sure that you have a clear line of sight, and I'll step aside so I'm not, in the way of their view of the parade.
And as you walk away, the last thing you hear is, whoo.
Tiny mushroom friends.
Tiny mushroom friends. As you return, Serapio and his mother explain that they're going to go off and bring Itzmin to justice. You're welcome to come along, but it's not required. Or if there's anything that you'd like to do here at the festival, or go back to Paracho Strings, because Wisteria, you would have, for a fact, because for a very brief moment, you had caught Sereno. You know that now that this creature is dead, this demon, everybody that had caught the curse of this creature is now cured. And so Marissa Huepe should be feeling better.
Okay. Do you all want to go to Parachos? Or is there something else you'd like to do first?
Oh, no, I definitely want to see how Marissa's doing, if what we did actually worked. And also, wasn't there a clarinet I wanted or something? I wanted a gold ukulele or something. I forgot what it is. But it was some instruments that I wanted.
There are plenty of ukuleles there.
There was
don't
a
think
lute. Are you
I don't
talking
think
about
it's
the
gold.
lute?
There might have been a lute. I don't think you saw a clarinet, but
Was there a quarter? No.
I mean,
Might
we
have been
all
a
recorder.
have
About
recorders, I
recorders.
think.
Do
Yeah.
not talk about recorders.
Mhm. All right. You're going to head back to Paracho Strings?
Mm-hmm.
We should head on back.
Mm-hmm.
Along the way, it is the celebration is infectious. Everybody is in high spirits. Food is being handed out, flowers and hugs and dances in the street. Ustina, the cart that you go by that fills your nose with something sweet, is immediately rewarded with a tamale wrapped in a fresh corn husk, and it just has the sweetest smell. It is It's a little bit overwhelming after spending some time in the mine, but in a good way, in a happy way, in a joyous way. And even if you don't necessarily understand everything that's going on, the glee on everyone's demeanor and that you can hear is palpable. And you wind your way through.
Good thing I got that whole bag of gold, huh? Because now I can get all that food.
When you do check Itzmin's bag, which no, you didn't give back. It's got 56 gold in it.
Ooh, okay.
A tidy little sum. You wind your way through Sunset Lawn. It takes a little while just because of everything going on, but it's a pleasant walk. When you get to the neighborhood that has Paracho Strings, it speeds up a little bit because this is a little more, it's not quite residential, but it's not the heart of the city. And so you make it back. And as you approach the front of this building, you see the door is open again. And when you start to go inside, when you get to the doorway and start to go inside, you see a much different view than when you got here. It would have been this morning, would have been hours ago, just hours ago. You see two figures are still here. You see Marissa Huepe and you see Paloma. Marissa is obviously much better. She no longer is wrapped in shawls and blankets. In fact, she's not even sitting anymore. She's now standing with Paloma behind the counter that separates the customer side from her portion of the store. And the two of them are working on what you recognize as an ofrenda. You've seen a bunch of these now. The places in where people can leave offerings to try to contact a specific loved one that they want to connect with, or at least leave messages of love and missing people. You can see the two of them, they seem to be finishing up whatever they were doing at this. It's kind of almost a upside down teardrop shaped a piece of stone that has a bunch of different layers on it, and it's wreathed in flowers and candles. There's actually a little, what looks like a child-sized violin sitting on it, and a couple of raisins, you think? And Marissa is finishing lighting some candles as Paloma turns around, a big smile on her face, and says, "Oh, I am so glad that you made it back here so quickly. It was obvious that you had been successful. I mean, look at her. She's so much better. And immediately, it was like it was day and night. And we figured that you had been successful, and we're hoping to have heard something. You are all okay? Everything is okay?"
Pretty much. The only bad thing is that this whole escapade has revealed the level of corruption that exists in the people in power. It goes way deeper than,
I knew there were issues with some of the politicians here. We had our suspicions, but this is sad confirmation of that. But the important thing, at least at this point, is you dealt with the cause of this curse. It will be a relief to see some of the people who have been suffering from this feeling better. There have been many who have succumbed, and knowing that they are going to be safe now is a weight off of my heart that I can't describe. And she comes up to you, and if you will accept it, she will hug you each.
Mm-hmm.
And she gives...
Absolutely.
She might not wanna. I just realized nobody has cleaned me off. I am not pleasant.
Paloma is this grandmotherly, very small gnomish woman, dark skin, shawl, the walking stick. When she hugs each of you, there's a little bit of strength there. She's definitely still got some strength in her, and she gives you each a nice hug. And when she stops, as Ustina, you say, you might not want to, and indicate the outfit. And she says, If it doesn't bother you, then it won't bother me, dear. And she goes to give you a hug. And her hug is warm and everything you would want out of a grandmotherly hug. Marissa comes walking up at that point, finishing from whatever she was finishing up at the ofrenda, and says, yes, thank you. I'm so much better, but I was so out of it when you came. I totally have forgotten. There was something you wanted, and now that you're back, let me get that for you. Whatever it is, whatever. I mean, did you want more recorders? Was there a lute? Whatever you want is yours.
I would love a recorder. That's one thing I do not know how to play. I'd love to learn how to play it. I can practice while we're doing things, right? Everyone.
Christina is shrinking behind the counter.
Absolutely.
Oh,
A recorder for you. And she looks at you, Kiana. Would you like one as well? I believe your other two friends already have.
I'm all right. I think we got plenty of recorders now.
Good to know. Yes, but is there anything I can get for the rest of you?
Oh, well, we had come here to talk to you about the tungsten strings.
I don't have any more of those strings, but if you would like me to craft more, absolutely.
Oh, no, it was about who you had sold to. And
oh, okay. Well, you mean, I thought I told you about the Maestro Stones in Winter, the one that is doing.
Yes, and then we found this, and again, I'll show her the tiny fragment that we have.
The music box, or are you just pulling out the
music
itself?
box? Yeah.
Okay. Is the string still in there, or the little tiny string that
we
was
had
in the
taken
box?
the string out to string it onto the little mini violin?
Yeah.
So yeah, we have it, but
okay, because that violin would have gone away, but the string would have stayed.
Right, the string is still there.
Okay, so she takes this tiny little box, which Kiana, might be the first time that you've seen this. What it looks like is a small metal box, nothing special, no markings, nothing surprising on it. Although one end does look like something had exploded out the side. And as Marissa puts it down on the counter and looks in, you see that there's not really that much on the inside. There's what looks like the interior, the guts of a music box, the keys that you would expect that would go onto the circular part that turns, that causes the music. Although that scroll is not there, but what you do see is this tiny, tiny little, it glints in the light. It's almost invisible if it wasn't for the fact that Marissa actually picks it up. It's a string. Looks like it's made out of some kind of metal, and from what your friends are saying, it's made of tungsten, but it is a hair in breadth and maybe 2 inches in length. And Marissa picks it up and looks at it and says, okay, yes, this, I don't remember his name, but I have it in my records. This is the person who basically inspired me to learn how to make things out of tungsten in the first place. He came to me about a year ago. Dragonborn. Let me go find the records so I can give you all the information that you need. But absolutely. She puts the string back down in the music box for you to take and goes into, there's a door at the back of where her repair shop is essentially, and exits. And Paloma looks at all of you curiously and says, tungsten, dragon, what is all this about? Honestly, it is not my business if you don't want to tell me, but I feel it's necessary to try to help you if there's anything that I can after all that you've done to help us.
There have been some attacks on the Radiant Citadel. And the creatures that attacked had tungsten on them. And when we played a note on this, there were some things that happened that made us a little concerned that something is going on.
Strange thing keeps happening here. And we're afraid that it's going to affect the entire citadel. I guess this has nothing to do with Proclaimer, but yes, tungsten, it seems to be a continual thread. You get our drift.
I think so. What, if you once again don't mind my asking, what's happening besides these attacks on the Citadel? I mean, that's horrible enough. My understanding is that Radiant Citadel is a place of peace, and there hasn't been violence there in such a long time.
Ustina would look at Kiana. I think she can probably tell you a little bit about what's happening where she's from.
I don't know anything about what's going on in the Citadel at all, but
no, where you're from.
But at God's breath, not too well. I don't know. I guess everything's kind of close to each other through the Citadel these days. You know, there was attacks there too, and I was kind of involved. I thought I had a chance. You know, it's funny being here. I thought I had a chance to reconnect with an old friend, and but it turned out to be a trick. Really, it wasn't real. It just turned out to be somebody using me. But I don't know if that has anything to do with what's going on in the Citadel. But it's been weird being here. I keep looking, see if I see my friend in the street. All those ghosts flying by and everything. So I haven't seen him yet, but keep my eye out. He's not from here, so but still, I keep my eyes open.
Paloma approaches you and softly asks, "A friend of yours that has passed away, you mean?"
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it. I sometimes hear him still giving me advice and things. So, is anyone ever really gone? But yeah.
Well, there are no guarantees, but if there is any night to connect with someone you care about who has passed away, tonight is the night. Are you at all interested in trying to connect with your friend? I would be more than happy to help.
I thought, like I said, I've been looking and I thought that's what I wanted, but I really think that what I want to do is just honor him in a different way. I think I want to see, one of the things I've been thinking about being here is the way my art kind of helped me, and Art Serapio, who met in mine, Art kind of helped him. And I think I want to go back to the Citadel and see what art can do for other folks. And I think, I'll leave him doing what he wants to do and just think about a way of kind of moving forward and, using art in some kind of way in his name.
It sounds like you've already had a chance to connect with him, and you already know what you need to know.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I look forward to seeing your art one day. And is at that point that the door behind her opens up and Marissa walks back in, kind of a clumped, it looks like a file folder that was in order, that is now a little bit of disarray as she has been frantically looking through it. And she's pulled out a couple of pieces of paper and has spread them on the counter. And they're a little hard to read because they're kind of in her chicken scratch, but she starts to explain that one of these is an invoice for some of the materials, and some of these were her notes about what it is that this person wanted. And she says, "Okay, so it was just about a year ago. The Dragonborn fellow from the Radiant Citadel, actually, a Nepal Felagurn was his name. And he came to me looking for," and she reaches back into the music box and pulls out the tiny little string. "This, he's he said he actually makes music boxes and was looking for something that would work inside of a music box that could withstand great pressures and be small enough to create a very high note. He said something about calling dogs with them. I never really understood, but he paid very well. And it was kind of exciting. It had been something that I'd never tried before. And so I worked with him a little bit and procured the tungsten, and we were able to create some of these. And he ordered a dozen.
A dozen?
Let me look. And she thumbs through the pages and says, yeah, I made about 20 because I had to practice a little bit. I'd never done anything like this before. And then he took 10. He took 10. I'm assuming that it was successful because I didn't hear from him again. He seemed to, I guess it had worked out well. So, but yeah, he was the first person to come along and ask for something like that. And
what happened to the other strings? The other 10?
I used those as some prototypes when the Tabaxi Maestro Stones came by asking for violin strings. And so I used those to dig up my notes and kind of practice on a little bit. I probably have some leftover tungsten somewhere, but nothing in a form that could be useful. But that's how I remembered what I had done, because no one had asked for any of that before.
And I don't want to force you to violate your client privilege sort of thing, but can you tell us his name, or what was it?
She did. It's Nepal Felicgern.
Okay.
And as far as client privilege, I'm not a doctor. He didn't ask to be kept. This didn't seem to be anything covert. He didn't ask to be not talked about. So, as far as I know, this should be fine. Are you interested in a music box? Is that why you're asking?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I wonder, would a low note, is there a way to cancel out a high note like that?
Oh, musically, absolutely. Pretty much anything. You can, it's not necessarily that it's a low note, it's just kind of an equivalent note that has a completely different frequency than what's being played, and the two cancel each other out. I've heard that there are places in the Marfell Ironworks that are working on speaker systems that play, they don't use anything like this. They're using electronic means to play specific notes to cancel out the noise of some of their machines to make it quieter in the ironworks. It's been fairly successful so far. But yes, here. So hold on, I can show you. And she walks on over and picks up. It's the same loot that she had picked up before when Ustina and Wisteria, when you had first came to her shop. She kind of plays it a little bit and tunes it, and then she plays a note. It's not very high. Plays a note, and she says, you can hear that pretty well. And then she plays a second note, which is actually not that far off, and you hear that very well. And she plays the two together, and it's almost like they're muted. You can still hear the two notes, but it's almost as though you can kind of feel in the air almost the vibrations hitting each other in a very specific way.
Why would you want the music to cancel each other out?
Because if that person was using that note to call the dogs that we were dealing with before, we may need a way to cancel that. And if it was that note also was affecting the other thing, and Wisteria sort of looks pointedly at Cricket, we might need a way to neutralize that.
Paloma, good, I'll bring my recorder. That might help, right?
Oh, I forgot your recorder. I'm so sorry. And as
Appreciate
Marissa heads back into the back room, Paloma, looking very concerned, says, what else is being affected on the Radiant Citadel?
Well, I'm not so sure how much I should tell you. But since you've been so gracious to us, I can give you a little hint. Since I don't know when, we've been either attacked or confronted with abominations and things that are coming from other realms to get us. And we don't know what is connected to what. But our fear is the health of the oral diamond, of course. So, at the very beginning, when we started working together, we noticed that the oral diamond had a spot that was darkened on it. And that gave us pause because we had never heard anything about that or seen anything like that before. So we've basically been traveling, trying to find out more information on all of the strange things that are happening here on the Citadel and surrounding cities and lands, galaxies, whatever you want to call it.
We also we know that that particular note seemed to affect the diamond in the same way.
Oh, so that is very concerning. And you can see that she's concerned, but she's also obviously searching her memory for something. She walks over and sits down in the chair, kind of clutching the walking stick. You know, nobody knows why the Citadel was lost in the first place, right? It was lost for so long. It wasn't until just recently that the expedition found it and we've all been able to find each other again. And she looks at you, Kiana, and says, our neighbors, the civilizations, being able to connect through the diamond has been amazing again. Otherwise, I don't know. It would have been sad to not be able to interact with our neighbors around the universe again. But no one has ever been able to figure out what happened so many centuries ago that caused it to be lost in the first place. But there are stories, there are legends. I always kind of thought that they were just fanciful stories that the bards made up. Legends to try to explain things that they couldn't ever understand. But there is one that says that the diamond, that the reason it was lost is because the diamond was protecting us. That it did something that struck. And you know, at the time, I thought it was the bard being fanciful. But I remember the story saying the diamond struck a chord that echoed through the ethereal and drove the whatever it was away. That whatever was attacking the Citadel, it drove it away. But in the process, that everyone was lost, that it was the sacrifice of all the people to save all of the civilizations. And I always thought that was just a story.
Isn't that what Ustina found out?
I
believe I found out that story.
You found a very similar story in God's Breath from the Proclaimers there, that there were that basically that there was some calamity that had happened. And while the descriptions of what the diamond did are different, the poem that you all know is called The Song of the Diamond. And you also know from your recorder friend, Mark of the Beast, who knows a lot about dragons seem to remember that a lot of the names that Ustina, that you were hearing about the calamity, whatever this thing that had happened that was going to destroy the Citadel, it went by a whole bunch of names. And he thought they all sounded like ethereal dragon names.
I wonder, I'm thinking about what we went through in God's Breath and what y'all are going through here. And I wonder if all the people came together to help this diamond, and it took everybody. But all of a sudden, we're dealing with our thing and you're dealing with your thing and everyone's distracted by their own problems. Maybe that's something that whoever's, I don't know, creating spots on diamonds is trying to do so that people can't come together and stop it, because, everybody's got to worry about your own neighbor first. And, maybe that's the whole reason that all this stuff got started.
I don't know if what's been going on here came from anything but our own problems, but I could definitely see we haven't been as active on the Citadel as we normally are because we've been dealing with so much. Whether or not our problems and whatever horrible things you were dealing with were caused, it would make sense to wait for people to be distracted if they wanted to do something on the Citadel. Like I said, it's usually such a peaceful place. Hearing about any kind of attack or destruction. I was warm a moment ago, and it chills me just to think about it. I'm glad we were able to help get you this information. I don't know what you're able to do with it, but it sounds like this is something very dangerous.
It is. And I mean, thank you for being so free and giving us information. And honestly, we don't know what will help us, but anything we can learn from the people in the land could possibly help at this point.
Marissa comes back and she's got a Cricket. She's got a selection of recorders for you. And she lays out, they're all simple recorders. They're all like what we would consider the elementary school music recorders that you get, but they're all very nicely made in a variety of nice woods. And as she lays them out for you to pick one, she goes back to the papers that she had brought out and rifles through and says, I don't have a specific address. The Citadel doesn't really have specific addresses. But the place that he owns, this Dragonborn that you're looking for, it's just called Nepal music boxes. It's nothing very special. So hopefully you're going to be able to find that when you get back there. But that's where it'll be. I don't know if I've got anything else here that's really of use. And she shows you the papers and you can see that it's mostly the manifests of what she'd purchased. It's invoices back and forth with this Dragonborn. It's notes on how she had created these little tiny strings. Nothing else on there that seems to be relevant.
Okay.
Do we think there's any way we can get one of those amplifiers that they're making at the ironworks to bring back with us?
Oh, I don't know. I know that they're very large, though. They're and she looks at the wall of this room, which is, 6-7 feet high. It's a fairly large open space. And she says, last I had heard, they were speakers the size of my wall. They were. It was a very, very loud, very low note that they needed to produce. So I don't think that would be something that they could transport, but that's not my speciality. That's a little out of my range.
All right.
I will say, though, and she looks back at the music box that you brought in the little tiny string. And she picks it up and looks at it again and says, This wouldn't be that loud though. And you wouldn't really need an amplifier if you wanted to cancel it out. You just need the other note. Or I mean, you could stop it from vibrating. I mean, every string you can just, and she reaches out and kind of pinches the sides of this hair of a string and says, the vibrations, you could just, if you wanted to stop it. And she reaches forward and Cricket grabs one of the recorders that you had not
the gold one.
picked. You picked the gold one? She picked, it's this gorgeous, almost golden hardwood. You're not exactly sure what kind of wood it is, but it's got these yellowish striations in the wood that give it this golden sheen. And she reaches over and picks up one of the other ones, kind of the dark brown one. And she thinks about the string for a moment and she looks at the pages and then she plays a note on the recorder. And it's very high. It's a very, very high note. And you can see it's taken a little bit of effort, but she plays it and all of you kind of, oh, yeah, it's a recorder playing a very high note. Ow. Yeah. And she stops and says, yeah, that would be the note. I mean, it won't totally cancel it out, obviously. And it'll only cancel out, as long as you can play a note. But if you can play that next to wherever this thing is being played, I don't know how dangerous a music box is, but you can make that music box not really sound.
Could you show us a little bit of what that note is and how to play it?
Yeah.
Or could you make a music box that just makes that note all the time?
I could. It's going to take a little while, though. I don't know how long you have to wait. I don't usually make music boxes. Yeah, I'm not sure if I could do that. It'd take about 3 or 4 days if you wanted to come back. But at least in the meanwhile, and she picks up one of the other recorders and starts. Well, she'll hand one to you, Kiana, and then Ustino Asteria. Do you still have yours?
I also could play it on any of the other instruments I play. I have a lute.
Yeah, I mean, I just grabbed the recorders because they were here and they're kind of easy to play. You don't really need too much, especially these. These are not like the fancy recorders they play in actual concerts and things. But yeah. And she'll, with anybody who wants to, she will teach how to play a note.
Yes.
It's very, very high and it takes your whole breath. Like basically, for those that might know, you're doing some hardcore overblowing in order to get a very specific overtone. And it's only one finger down and you just blow into it. And she gives you a little bit of advice on your mouth position on the recorder and a few things. It takes 5-10 minutes. You're not even learning to play a song. You're learning to play one note. And eventually, all 4 of you and her are all on mortared, picking this note out. Paloma still sitting on her chair nearby, and she's got a very wonderful mixture of look at these lovely people learning how to play the recorder and this is a really awful note.
And like kindergartners actually playing the recorder.
Yeah, these are my grandchildren and I love them so, but this note, it's bad. And she will just give, and the Kiana and Cricket, she'll just give you these recorders to take and says, I don't know how they will help, but like I said, if you're nearby one of these strings and you can't just stop it, with your fingers, that will dampen it for sure.
Great. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. This seems like a paltry thing for what you all have done for me and for Sansadlan. And certainly if there's anything else besides recorders, I mean, I'm not going to lie. These are not anything special. So if there was anything else that you needed, you are always welcome to come back. And my door is always open to anything that you need.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Paloma.
My pleasure. It sounds like, I don't know if you believe in the thing of fate, but this sounds like this was meant to come together like this. You knowing what we know and And she looks directly at you, Kiana, and says, neighbors. We need to talk to each other. And both Paloma and Marissa will offer accommodations for the night if you would like to stay, because it is pretty late. Or if you would like to head back to the Radiant Citadel immediately, you can. It's kind of up to you.
Well, I think we should, and Cricket sort of looks at Justina, maybe sleep just for the night. I would like to find some spices if you have some. I could make sloppy joes.
Why is Joe so sloppy?
They're
That's
delicious.
a good question.
Trust
That's a very
me.
good question. Maybe I'll make a neat joe.
Oh,
That's not as fun.
That's true.
so
I'll
stay here for tonight and then go back tomorrow?
Is that okay?
We can enjoy
Kiana?
more of the celebration. We can bring our recorders.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I can practice more tunes.
All right. Yeah. The Marissa will show you, even if you want to go back out and enjoy the Night of the Remembered, Marissa will take a moment and take you back through the back door, and up a ramp leading to the second story of what you now know is both her shop and her home. And it's nothing fancy, but she's got the equivalent of couches and places that you can stay and sleep. She grabs a bunch of blankets and everything and says, absolutely, your home is my home, but if you're gonna go out to the Night of the Remembered, that place down there has the best tamales. And she'll give you kind of the overview of everything within like a 3-block radius of here's some of the best food, here's some of the wildest parties. If you really want to see the fireworks, go over here, and just will lay out anything that you want to know. And if you would like to spend the evening, some of it out in the festival and the rest of it having a good night's sleep, you are more than welcome to. Is there anything in specific any of you would like to do, or shall we move along to next morning? It's totally up to you.
Move along. Oh,
Justina rather would just wait until everyone's asleep, or at least settled down. And she's going to wander out, presumably for food. I mean, that's what everybody would absolutely think she's going out for. But she's going to wander back down to Marissa's shop and pick up the really beautifully decorated lute off the wall that Wisteria wanted.
Oh, yeah.
And put it on the counter. And then she's going to go pick up a really simple lyre, the instrument, not a small person. A really simple lyre, and put it on the counter and just sit there and wait patiently until Marissa comes back to the counter.
Yeah.
Just gonna
I love this so much. For story reasons, after about 20 minutes, despite the fact that you've all been out enjoying the Night of the Remembered, and you'd all come back, and it took a while to settle down and get to sleep because it's a festival, and so you come away from that a little overstimulated, and takes everybody a while to kind of calm down and settle in. So it is well past midnight when you walk on down and set this up and take a seat. But maybe it's because it's so late that's why only about 20-30 minutes later, the door unlocks and opens up, and a very happy, very rosy-cheeked Marissa comes walking on in, closes the door behind her, and turns to you and says, "Oh, hi.
Hello. I'm one of the people staying in your house.
Listen, I have had quite a bit to drink tonight, but not so much that I don't remember everything. Absolutely. Justina, was it, right?
Correct.
Was there something wrong? Did you need any more blankets or pillows or anything?
No. The hospitality is fantastic. The blankets are very soft and the pillows are slightly firm, but it's okay. I'm used to sleeping on rocks. I would like to pay you for these. I don't remember how much. Was.
And she comes walking on over and sees the lute and the lyre, not the person sitting there on the counter. Oh, I remember. Yeah. She leans in and says, for your friend.
The loot, yes. The lyre's for me.
I thought so. Hold on a moment. And she turns around and goes over to a corner of the shop portion of this store, where you can see stacked up are cases of varying sizes made out of brown and black leather. And she kind of searches and searches. Oh, it's been here that long. Okay. She comes walking on over and opens it, and you can see for the incredibly nice loot that you had picked out that Wisteria wanted. She has a corresponding case for it in what looks like plush black velvet that has been molded with, you think probably wood, into the shape of this loot. She takes it and places it inside, closing the top, tying over the straps, and sitting it up for you to take. And there's a nice little handle right there. And she looks over at the lyre and says, that is a very fine instrument, but I don't actually have a case for that. It's only for these.
It's okay.
But here you go.
Okay. How much is it?
It is the cost of saving my life.
Can it be the cost of all this money I stole from Itzmin?
She looks at you and says, who's Itzmin?
He was the guy who caved in the mine and made the demon thing happen that made you sick.
Oh, he's one of the people responsible.
He's a politician.
Oh. And she gives you a very long look, and she looks at the money, and she looks at the loot. You can tell just from your passive insight that she wants to give this to you because of the nice thing that you've done. But now you've offered, hey, take this money that from
Stolen
the person
money.
who's well, for her, and you can tell this is the money of someone who's responsible. So I deserve this money, and this will make you feel better. And so she looks at it. She takes the bag and opens it up, and you see her eyes widen at the coins. She pulls them out, and she counts out half and takes it, and then pushes the bag back to you and says, make sure you buy some more tamales on the way out, okay?
I will buy so many tamales.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Yeah. Suki makes amazing tamales, and she always has leftover after the night of the remembered, because you never know how many people are going to buy. And I think she would be very happy if some of this money went to making sure that she didn't have any leftovers.
I will use it to stimulate the local economy. And Ustina will pick up the lyre and strap it onto a loop on her belt and pick up the loot. I am now going to go back to your lovely couch.
And I will be right behind you.
Cricket
go to my
snores, but
lovely
it's
bed.
okay. I'm used to ignoring it.
Did
You
we
know?
have a chance to try and find the carriage?
Oh, I don't know. Did I? Can we say that I found Bonnie and Billy and made sure they were okay?
give me the two of you give me a retroactive while you were out enjoying the party, either an investigation or a perception check. Give me one of the two.
Oh no.
That didn't go
8
very well
and
for
9.
me either.
All right, so an 8, 9 from Ustina. How about Wisteria? How about you?
9 was Wisteria's.
I got an 8, unless I was rolling at advantage and I didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I told
and
you.
I got a 9.
Oh, you said
unless I
advantage?
was.
Okay, sorry, hold on.
advantage? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, did I not say that? If I said it in my
Much
head,
better.
you know, as a
11.
DM, I should say the things out loud that I mean for you
7.
to do.
Oh gosh, I have an
That's
11.
terrible.
My passive is a 17 though.
An 11 is actually, you needed a 10. Ustina, rewind to several hours ago as the four of you are enjoying the party and enjoying the festivities, and Ustina and Wisteria think about, oh, this would be the perfect time. We should go find out about the carriage and everything. Wisteria, was it a perception or investigation check?
Perception.
And Ustina, were you a perception or investigation?
That was an attempt at perception.
Okay. The both of you just start to look. You're looking around. And San Zitlan is a massive city. Also, it's just filled with color and light and festival.
Food.
And food. And that Ustina keeps getting distracted by.
Yes.
Wisteria, you eventually think to go back to the entrance, where your mushrooms were. And you think to follow in the direction that you saw Serapio and his mother go. And it doesn't take long before you see that this is heading into kind of one of the nicer parts of town. The festival continues through what are looking like the very large mansions, very exquisite places. You spend a good 2 hours just kind of wandering around this place. The festival isn't as bright here because it is private residences. Kiana and Cricket have already wandered away because now you're just looking at houses. It's kind of all right, whatever. I mean, there's spirits I want to talk to. But just as you're about to leave, you look over behind one of the gated mansions and you see parked on the side that carriage. You don't see the horses, but there is a barn behind it that does look like it's a place to house horses.
I will climb the wall.
All right. You climb the wall.
Mm-hmm.
For you, it's not that
I guess
hard.
we're not going to try knocking first.
No.
All right.
Would you like to come up? And she'll lean over the wall and like put her hands out.
Sure.
Easy
I follow
enough.
you over the wall.
It is a high wall, but it doesn't have like the pointy grates at the top or anything. And so yeah, Ustina with her strength is easily able to get the two of you over. As you trot on over to the cart, I'm just going to very quickly go back to Kiana and Cricket. What are the two of you doing right now?
Okay, well, I will. Cricket, she likes to go out some nights and bay at the moon. I'm kidding. But yeah, she does like to sometimes go, like just generally
She's
go
not
outside.
kidding. She does. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of just, yeah, like go out into the darkness, into like the darkest places of the woods and find like a rock to either sing to the moon but she's really, I don't know, looking for information and speaking to her gods. That's what she does every night.
Okay. So
That's what
Kiana,
she's doing.
You've gone into the festival with these 4 people. 2 of them have gone off to go look at mansions. One of them has now gone off into the woods. You think? You're not sure, but she seems intent. What are you up to?
It happens every now and then.
I've got a sketchbook that I managed to pick up and doing drawings of various skeleton spirit people remembered. They all look kind of the same, but a little bit different. So I've now started creating like a side business, but it's for free, just giving it away.
Side hustle.
Taking
Oh
flowers.
my gosh. You're like one of the caricature artists.
And
I love it.
Caricatures of
I love it so
various
much.
skeletons. And they tell me that they can tell it's them, but I'm not sure if it's true.
Kiana, for everyone that you give away every single time, even though people are not surprised that you're giving it away, because this seems to be the type of festival in where you're not really paying for anything unless it's something substantial. But everybody wants to give you a flower or a piece of food or something in exchange. And by the time that your hand is sore, your heart is full, and you have gotten a little bit better at drawing caricatures of the skeletons that are wandering around here.
Never know when that'll come in handy.
You never know. Cricket, give me a very quick religion check with advantage as you have a moment. Yeah.
To reconnect. She has to reconnect every now and again with the people who give her the power she has. No. Of course it doesn't work. A 7.
That's with advantage?
Oh, I thought I needed to be like, well, maybe, I mean, I could conceivably say she shifted. But okay.
No, you don't need to shift.
I don't.
You have advantage because it's the night of the remembered. If there's any time to contact someone on another plane of existence.
I rolled a 1. So it's a 7 or a 4, your choice.
Cricket, what are you asking? Or what are you saying? Or what are you doing?
Well, I mean, for this particular adventure with these three, she's really just looking for any answers at all. One thing that's sort of just been in the back of her mind is the Keening gloom and how that plays into everything that has been happening with them. Just, I guess, slight answers. I mean, really, this for her is just connecting to her gods because they help her and guide her, and that's what she has to do. So that's what she's doing. She's paying homage to the people who give her, or to the beings that give her powers. So if they do have answers, feel free to layeth them on me. Thank you. That's all. Ooh, and she howls the moon, and then so you might hear, like, if you're somewhere in the house, you might hear that noise.
As you howl, and it echoes because you've moved outside the city far enough that the din of the party is distant enough to not be audible unless you're listening for it. Even the fireworks are just kind of distant pops, and you let out this howl, and it flows through the trees like a being on its own. You can hear it just kind of move through all the pieces of the forest. And it's as though the howl comes back to you. It's like it's a boomerang that you've thrown out into the forest, and it comes back to you. And when you had howled, you felt it in your chest. You give a full barrel diaphragm filled, your entire being howling, vibrating with your faith and your joy. And when the sound comes back to you, it's that moment that you had at Marissa's shop where she showed you how to play one note and play a second note, and they kind of cancel each other out. When it comes back, it does exactly that. It has come back at just the right tone that you feel that jarring, but it's not a bad feeling. It's, you could swear it's revelatory.
That's exactly the noise she makes.
And the woods are silent again.
What is that? Who is that? Do I know you?
And you don't get an answer from any of your deities, but you could swear you hear some wolves howl off in the distance.
That could either be a good thing or a bad thing. I can't wait to tell the others. This could be a breakthrough for us, or it could be absolutely nothing. Either way, it's interesting, isn't it? She says to no one in particular. And then she's just going to turn and sprint back to Marissa's house.
Excellent. Just about the time that your god is answering your howls, Ustina and Wisteria have climbed the wall and have approached in the dark this cart. Are you examining the cart first, or are you going somewhere else? The horses or the house or something?
You got the keys?
I have the keys. I'd like to look at the cart, please.
Sure. Sure enough, the key that you kind of pegged as the one that opens the cart opens it up. It is a plush cart. You remember a couple days ago riding in the wagon that had taken you out in God's breath, and that had been comfortable for what it was. This is deep purple velvet with gold trim, thick pillows. All of the windows are shuttered by incredibly thick curtains that during the daytime would completely block out the sun. When you open it up, it's stylized with the two benches that face each other. And other than the plush surroundings, other than the absolutely look at me, look how rich I am kind of feel you're getting from it, you don't notice anything else. Do you enter the cart?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. Yep, you climb up and into the cart and sit down on one of the seats, and it's fluffy. It's super fluffy. Are you looking for anything in specific, or are you just enjoying the cart?
I'm sort of searching to see if there's anything in here that would be a clue to what was going on. And so I kind of would maybe peek under the cushions and see if there's anything like that they would. I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking for because I haven't found it yet. So
I mean, that's fair. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Okay. No, not good. 6.
What is happening with these rolls?
Investigation is not my forte.
It's not your forte.
So,
Pull
it was
up,
worth a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. You pull up the cushions. The main one that you sit on that would be on either side, it's not meant to be pulled up. It's not like a loose cushion. And so it kind of sticks a little bit. You knock your feet against the wood that's basically forming the seat that this cushion is on. And it's got a hollow sound, but you don't see any way to, like a door. It doesn't look like there's a way to access it. And same for the other side. The cushions don't necessarily pull up. They're attached to the wood. And when you knock on it, sounds like it's hollow, but you don't see if there's like a drawer or something to pull out.
Can I sort of search for if there's a button or something that might be the mechanism that would open these if they were to open?
Sure. Let me ask real quick before I ask you to do something. Ustina, what are you doing in this moment?
Besides being muted, I would have started ritual casting Speak with Animals as we went over the wall, but I will stick my head around the side of the cart. What are you doing?
I'm just trying to find if there's anything in here that might be useful for us.
Did you find anything?
I don't know yet. I think these are hollow, but I can't seem to find a button or a drawer. It's not under the cushions from what I can tell. On the walls, maybe?
I'm going to do the thing. I'm just going to punch it.
Oh. You're going to punch a cart? I'm here for it.
No, I'm going to try to break the seat.
Yeah, you're punching a cart. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just funner here to say that. Give me an attack roll.
Oh, boy.
We'll say you're attacking the one that Wisteria is not seated on.
I appreciate that.
I'll just put that directly out there.
That is 16 to hit.
You hit the cart. Go ahead and roll damage.
Just unarmed damage?
Yeah.
Because that's just 3 automatically.
Okay.
Is what it says.
You calmly look at Wisteria, look at this wood, and punch it. And there is the crack and splinter of nice but not thick wood as you directly into it. It's loud. Fortunately, much of the velvet in this cart kind of consumes a lot of the sound, and it's just a little bit of a outside the door. And yeah, as you pull your hand out from the crack that you put into it, you pull a couple of pieces of wood away and look on down, and there's a space under where the seat is. And you can't quite tell how someone would actually access it, because you're pretty sure that no one is normally just punching into the bottom of a seat. But there is something in here. You do see a small metal box.
I will remove the small metal box.
It's it is bread box sized. It is the size of a bread box. It is very, very small.
Okay.
Metal box with hinges and a place to put in a key.
I will hold out the box. Key.
Does the middle key look like it fits it? Like not the one that goes to the carriage, not the one that looks like a house key, but the other one?
You insert it in, and click, and the box opens up. The only thing that you find in the box is it's reminiscent of the journal type book that you found on the woman that was in the mine. It's that style. And when you pull it out and start to flip through it, it's all in abyssal. But
Of course it is.
But, and I know that your dictionary is already gone, Wisteria, but give me, roll a d20 and add your spellcasting modifier.
Okay. A 9.
God, what is with us tonight?
You know, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
All that recorder playing. Shutting out the rest of our brains.
You were really concentrating on the note. Yeah, you're trying to recall some of the words that you had already transcribed in these other two places, trying to see if any of the words match. And it's a little hard. It's been several hours. The only thing you notice, for sure, you do notice several times over in this book, the name Pizazu.
I bet you we could find somebody on the Citadel who can read that.
I'm sure we can, yeah.
I can't read that.
I can't either, though I don't know how it's going to go running around asking people to translate demonic summoning.
Oh, I thought about giving it to your spy friend.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
He can keep secrets. I'm going to go look for the horses.
And I'm sure we could find a dictionary again on the Citadel. When I have time, I could go to the library.
As
Wisteria
is talking,
club.
Christina's already walking away to go find the horses.
And when Ustina broke the thing, there's no way to see the mechanism to see if that might be the same on the other side.
Give me a quick perception check.
Okay.
What did you do in D&D today? We investigated a seat.
18.
Welcome to D&D. With an 18, now that you can see, now that you know for sure, it's actually kind of easy to see. It's easy in the sense of now you know what to look for, but it's a little awkward to see. You got to look kind of up and through the hole that she had made. And then you see the spot under where the cushion kind of overhangs this piece of wood that the seat is made out of. You put your hand under it. Because before you'd been kind of grabbing the cushions by each side and pulling
instead of looking from.
Yeah, but when you reach right in the middle of the cushion where it overhangs that piece of wood, you feel a little button there. And as you press it, the whole front of this seat.
Oh, that's much easier. Is there anything in there?
It was just the metal box with the journal.
I sort of will push the planks up as best I can. Back into place.
Sure.
Sort of.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, nothing to
They'll
see here.
never notice.
For everything's fine.
Yeah. For the sake of time, I will assume I have found these horses. The horses are fine.
Yes, you go to where there is obviously a stable. There are half a dozen horses in here, all of them set up for the night.
I learn all of their names, but that's okay. We don't have to go through that.
If you wake them up, they're a little cranky, but if you've got some apples, they are very quickly placated. So
I offer one a tamale, probably doesn't take it. But
it takes the tamale. Who's gonna say no to a tamale?
It's true. But yes,
Wanasuki's tamales, absolutely. Gimme. I don't know if
I would just
in this magical world of mine, horses can eat tamales, and there's absolutely no problems. Don't at me.
Okay. I would just confirm that and everything else, and then I assume Wisteria and I would probably head back to Marissa's, and then we boop back to where I bought stuff earlier.
And then things happen, and you all get a long rest, and you wake up the next morning. Yay!
And Wisteria finds a bookcase next to her pillow.
Oh,
or their pillow. Sorry.
What's this? And I'll open it up. Oh, this is beautiful. And I take it out. I'll start playing a little bit of a tune.
It is everything that you remembered it being a day or two ago at this point. Yeah. What do you play?
Fancy variations on Hot Cross Buns.
Ooh.
Dang it.
Very nice.
Is this like first thing in the morning?
I don't want to wake anybody up,
Probably
but
late morning at this point.
Okay.
before we start heading to head back to the Citadel.
Okay. Cricket would like to come down the stairs or around the corner, or whatever, playing the 1812 overture loudly on a recorder. Very proud of herself.
All right.
Man, keep it down. I gotta
I've
tell
been
you, my head
practicing.
hurts a little bit. Ugh. I drew a lot of pictures. Folks gave me something called Wine of the Remembered, and I had several. Whoa.
All right. So now we're going to find Dragonborn, right? Yes.
Yes, I think we should go back to the Citadel and see what we can find out.
Christina comes through the front door with 2 giant paper bags just full of food.
Full of
Oh,
what?
thank you.
Food.
Could I have some of those?
Oh,
Yeah, throw them on
snacks.
there.
Okay. And she takes one out and gives it to Kiana.
Okay.
But yeah,
It's a tamale.
yeah, it is. She'll also give you a single pan de muerto as well, but just because cinnamon bread, and that's the title of the episode.
Mhm.
But she said it. But other than that, just get all my stuff together and head out.
All right. Marissa Wepe is happy to see you out. The city is quiet, even though it is, at this point brunch-ish. Everybody's sleeping in this morning. It's very quiet. It's easy to make your way back to where you can pick up the Concord Jewel that's going to take you back to the Radiant Citadel. Yeah, Kiana, after the Wine of the Remembered and the tamale, you're feeling a lot better, but that jar of the plane shift hits you a little harder than it normally would, but you're okay. You're okay. Just like, oh, yeah, travel on a stomach full of wine. It lands and you have returned to the Radiant Citadel. And you said that you're looking for the Dragonborn in their shop?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All
Knuckles
right.
music boxes.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take you that long to find a couple questions here and there. You head kind of to one of the portions of the Radiant Citadel that's towards the edge, kind of the furthest away from the diamond, which gives you this lovely view of it, now in a very vibrant yellow, almost as though the sun has now, a normal sun has risen over the Radiant Citadel itself. But you're right along the edge where the place that you actually find the shop, it's practically at the wall that designates this is the end of the Radiant Citadel. And from here, it is just space. And it's got a nice little sign out front that just has a picture of a music box with a music note on top of it. And when you come in the door, I assume you go inside. Do you go inside?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. As you go inside, the door gives a little ding, 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 as there's a bell up top. And you enter a very small, what looks like not even really a storefront, but it's maybe only about 30 by 30 with a little counter. It's very plain. The counter itself has nothing really on it, although behind it you can see, kind of the same way that Marissa had, there's a very small table and some what look like tools and a few, they're music boxes, but they're made out of wood and they've got intricate carvings on the top, but they're kind of pulled off and apart in a couple different ways. Behind the counter, the back wall is a couple of bookshelves filled with books that have music boxes in front of them, almost like a fancy display. There's nobody in here, and you see that there's a sign on the counter that says, "Out to lunch, back soon." And Cricket.
Yes.
As you enter and are looking around,
Mm-hmm.
you notice something on the floor. You're kind of taking a look at the music boxes and the bookshelves and everything. You look down and something glints on the floor that catches your eye. And you lean down a little bit closer and kind of take a finger, almost as though there was dust on the floor, and wipe it up. And that looks like little tiny flecks of metal. And you look back down, and it's as though it's as if somebody or something that had, like, for a lack of a better way of describing it, a handful of tungsten just in their hands, pouring out like sand. And there's just enough of it on the floor that there's a path leading up to the bookshelf. And thanks to your passive perception, that's where we're going to stop for the evening. And the next time we get together, it will be the finale of Radiant Stories. And we'll see what's going to happen next. But for now, we're going to leave it off there. Thank you to my players for quite an awesome time. I was not expecting to have that much going on at the Night of the Remembered, but I loved every moment of it. So thank you. Let's take a moment and give everybody a chance to tell people where they can find more of your awesomeness in the same order as we did at the beginning.
Okay, that's like a twisty, you know what about this story? It's like very twisty turvy, and it requires paying attention to the little details in the story. And that's so you can tell you play a lot, Lauren, because there's little details and they were like, oh, she's playing. Okay, we're like all flipping through our notes to see that we have it down. But it's fun. It's very puzzly. I like this. All right, everybody. I'm Alicia Marie. You can find me on socials at Alicia Marie Body. On Tuesday nights, a Demi-Plane RPG for Children of Erte with Lauren and Jen. And I should bring this back up again on Friday the 28th. I'll be streaming for Survivors, playing for WAVAW, which is the Rape Crisis Center. We'll be playing for charity at 2 p.m. PST. It'll be a one-shot charity game with a lot of really fun players. And I'll be playing a character that, of course, is brand new, and I have no idea what I'm doing. But she is Cricket's cousin, Shivani. So cool. It will be very interesting. I'm like, awesome. Oh, God.
Oh, I'm Erin Roberts. I am a writer of stories and games. You can find me on Twitter at Nirele, Nirele. When you said a handful of tungsten, I totally was like, that's fan fiction and God's breath. I wanted to share that with you all before I left.
I love that so much. Oh my God.
Here for it.
That's amazing.
And I will this time next week, I'll be at Big Bad Pod. So if you'll be down that way, hit me up on Twitter and let me know. That's it.
I am Jen Kretschmer. You can find me on Twitter as @DreamWisp. You can find me streaming on Twitch as DreamWispJen. Tuesdays, I am with some of these lovely folks for Children of Erte. Fridays, I am here. I have some other really exciting stuff I'm going to be announcing very soon. I'll put it up on Twitter when I can talk about it. I am also one of the authors on Anansi's Tapestry of Lives, so please check out the Kickstarter. We have 1 week left, or less than now, and we're really, really proud of it. There's so much cool stuff in there. I'm also a voice actor for it. In other places, I am an actor, producer, disability consultant, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, the best place to keep up with what I'm doing is on Twitter. So that's the place for now to find me.
Hi, I'm Kelly. You can find me on Twitter at the Opera Geek, where you can also find links to everything else, including YouTube if you want to see if I actually am a professional opera singer, which I am, and also voice actor in several anime dubs. What else am I doing? Unfortunately, this is my only show at the moment, but I do also stream on Twitch. We are currently playing through the original adventures of Dad and Boy, aka God of War, as we prepare for God of War 2. And I'm super excited about it. One of my mods said that this game should be titled Solving Generational Trauma with Swords, the video game. And it is absolutely true. So you can watch me probably tomorrow, but also definitely Sunday on twitch.tv/theoperageek. Yes, you're allowed to say that. I will also be in Anansi's Tapestry of Lives as a voice actor. Yay!
And I'm Lauren Urban. I will also be in Anansi's Tapestry of Lives. I've got an NPC that I'm writing, and I might also be voicing them. We'll have to see. You can find me on Twitter, ZobaLauren, which is the best place to find all of the things that I'm doing. Thank you once again to all of my players for dealing with me and my ridiculously and my topsy-turvy, look at all these things and have a lot of fun and do musical things, because that's what I do. Thank you to the producers of this show, the people behind the scenes without which this show would never have been able to happen. Thank you to Idle Champions and Anansi's Tapestry of Lives, which you should definitely check out. And thank you for joining us. And wherever you are in the universe, we hope we've brought the joy of the Radiant Citadel to you. Bye.
With Silas on your side, all things are possible through love. Violence, the endless tune of my preferred song.
Longbow will cost you an extra on account of the danger I'll be putting myself in by making a bow twice my height.
I am now convinced it's something far more potent. It's a ritual.
Don't make faces just because we're kids. Adults like you always think we won't take their shirts off their back or the fancy sword from their scabbard.